watching F5. We are at Black Hat 2023 in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. My name is Buu. I'm one of the community evangelists on the F5 Dev Central team, and I am actually joined by Matthew. Matthew is the CEO, founder of MazeBolt, one of our newest partners at F5. Matthew, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Very, very good conference. A lot of people here. I think a lot of interest in our product, a lot of interest in the F5 relationship with MazeBolt, so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, and so at InfoSec, which was only a month ago, I actually already spoke to Matthew. We actually kind of did a high-level explanation on what the MazeBolt solution does, how it works with F5 as well, and today we're actually going to dive a little bit deeper into that solution. So Matthew, maybe I'll turn it over to you and let us know a little bit more about MazeBolt.
Thank you. So as you can see here on the screen, Boo, what is the problem in DDoS? How does a damaging attack happen? A damaging attack happens, the only way a damaging attack can happen is if there is a vulnerability in the DDoS protection deployed. That's the only way it can happen. You don't see major infrastructure coming down every day, but customers are coming down all the time. And one of the reasons that this F5 MazeBolt relationship came into being was to completely prevent that. How does a vulnerability come into being? Misconfigurations of solutions create vulnerabilities in that protection, which eventually will land up in a damaging DDoS attack. So the key is you need to find where those vulnerabilities are and close them as quickly as possible to completely avoid that. You don't want to get into emergency response and damaging SLAs. You want to be very proactive and preventative. And previously it was not possible to identify vulnerabilities. It just takes too long because it's a disruptive process. What MazeBolt came up with was a non-disruptive process to do that, which allowed us to find a lot of vulnerabilities, which then brought another challenge. How do you close all these vulnerabilities? And that's where F5 came in with their security services. The process that we use to find vulnerabilities in any type of protection is first we map the entire environment of a customer, all of the external facing targets. We then non-disruptively test using the radar technology. We identify the vulnerabilities, we prioritize them, and again, this is where F5 comes in. The F5 relationship, what we do now is we need to remediate those vulnerabilities. The main component, which is what our customers are asking, and I guess your customers too are asking this, is that now when those vulnerabilities arrive, F5 has a streamlined, predictable process to close that. They are actually the only vendor that is able to do that in a predictable way, which is a first of its kind in any DDoS protection vendor. So this process here is actually what makes the remediation process, is actually what makes the automated protection function at 99.9%. And the only way to do that quickly and efficiently is with radar and F5 combined. Typically what we see is when we start off with any type of protection, the green here is automated blocking. That means a DDoS attack arrives, it's automatically blocked, no damage to the customer. The red here, the DDoS attack arrives against the service, it gets through all the protection and creates damaging downtime for the customer. What you want to do is get rid of that red and make everything automated and protected without having to rely on some kind of a long SLA. No one can afford 20 or 30 hours of downtime. Using this new remediation process with F5, we're able to get to the 99th percentile of complete automated protection. That means your SLA is really close to the 0-second SLA. Essentially, all of your protections are working, configured, and using the F5 technology, it will block those attacks very quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds really good.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a look at what the interface looks like?
Sure. Okay. So here you have the MazeBolt radar dashboard, and these are your various layers of DDoS protection: CDN, scrubbing center, on-premise equipment, and WAF. The green again represents the automated protection, meaning an attack arrives and that's automatically blocked. You can see in this particular demonstration, the CDN is completely protected. That means all vulnerable areas in the protection have been identified and patched, and that's completely protected for the customer. Now, here you see this red, which is what you want to get to the green. And what the platform allows you to do is drill in at that particular layer. In this particular layer, this is the scrubbing center. Now you can see, for instance, here against a target name, which is an external IP of the customer, an attack type called Cloud Scraper. You can drill in and see what actually happened during this attack. Why did we count it as vulnerable? We can see that we sent 21,000 connections and more than half got through. By that, we're able to identify that at the scrubbing center layer over here, the attack was able to penetrate. However, the on-prem equipment was configured correctly and mitigated that, and we declared it protected. So we could see that the attack did bypass the scrubbing center, but got blocked at the on-prem equipment. What we want to do now is provide this information, this vulnerability information to F5. The F5 SOC team will then take that and reconfigure the protections in the cloud at F5 and make it protected. Very quickly, what we'll then do is very quickly come back to this particular attack and just click reassess. Yeah. Just check that all the protections were okay, because the F5 SOC team tells MazeBolt, look, we've reconfigured it, great. We just click retest and we know 5 minutes later if that's been done. If not, fine-tuning is done and it's calibrated.
Wow, okay, that's awesome. So within 5 minutes, you guys are able to pick that up right away.
Right, and it requires zero disruption to your online services. So all of this is happening in the background. With this partnership, the customer, the protection is just getting better and better, and F5 and MazeBolt are hardening all of the protection in the background without the customer's involvement, which is what customers want. They want to avoid a damaging attack. And this relationship allows them to do that. Right.
So, amazing solution. Like this really brings to light the ability to have almost 100% efficacy of the solution that you purchased from F5, which is what we want as well. We want customers to have maximum value, and you guys are able to do that. So that's pretty awesome.
I think what's happening, Buu, in the industry is large organizations are understanding that the damage from DDoS attacks is significant. And if they are relying heavily on SLAs, SLAs are essentially going to be guaranteed downtime. And what you want to have is you want to have this kind of predictive identification of vulnerabilities prior and avoid ever triggering an SLA. Once the SLA is triggered, a lot of damage has happened. So I think what we're seeing now in the industry from the customers we're talking to is they want to do everything possible to avoid a damaging attack. And we see that there's now a recognition that the only way that attack can happen is with a vulnerability in the protection. So prioritizing, identifying, and remediating those vulnerabilities is going to be a priority. The really awesome thing here is that MazeBolt is a first mover in this technology. It's a first of its kind. The amazing thing was that F5 actually had the vision to see that this is a critical priority for their customers. Going down isn't an option anymore for their customers, and they understood that they need to partner with people that can identify these vulnerabilities and close them quickly, because both of us care about our customers, and that's why we do it.
Absolutely. Very cool. So come on to MazeBolt booth if you want to check them out during Black Hat. Also, we'll have some information as well on where you can find out more about the joint solution. And there's some documentation around that. Also, F5 is here at Black Hat over at booth 2240. We are here all week. Otherwise, thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you, Buu.
Great to see you.
Every organization with online services is at a high risk of a damaging DDoS attack. The financial damages of a successful DDoS attack can reach billions of dollars. Organizations cannot identify vulnerabilities with hundreds of hours of downtime. Thus, it's impossible to properly configure DDoS protection accurately. Even with the best DDoS protection in place, every organization suffers up to 75% exposure of their online services. But that is all in the past. There's a new approach to DDoS security. Click the link below to eliminate DDoS threats and achieve true DDoS resilience. MazeBolt Radar, a critical breakthrough in DDoS security.